Public policy is a course of action or inaction taken by governmental or legislative bodies to address public problems.
In today's episode, Teresa and I are speaking with Dr. Pulani Lucas, founding president and CEO of the nonprofit Policy Pathways at policypathways.org. Under her leadership, Policy Pathways is making a needed impact by preparing tomorrow's leaders.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started. Hello, today we have with us Dr. D. Pulani Lucas. Welcome, Dr. Lucas.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
I tell you, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Lou, more than I, is well versed when it comes to public policy. But for me, it's a struggle, and I'm learning.
It's interesting because, we talk about public policy and it's on the news and you hear the term, but many people don't understand what public policy is.
Yeah.
So, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I told Teresa when you agreed to join us, I thought, great. I so want to hear from her because it's so important. So yeah, again, welcome.
Thank you.
And a great segue into our first question. Would you just tell us what it is? What is public policy?
Well, public policy is a course of action or inaction taken by governmental or legislative bodies to address public problems. And so Americans and others, but let's focus on the U.S., Americans are impacted by public policies directly or indirectly every day. And increasingly, Americans are looking to governments to solve more and more problems in their communities. So governments are taking action around resolving conflicts or the redistribution of funds to address educational issues, housing issues, environmental issues, health care issues, gun control. There's just a long list of problems that we have that affect different communities in different ways. So public policy is essentially it's about power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about decisions that are being made around who gets what, when, and how.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that. And as you were talking, Dr. Lucas, I thought about, particularly in my time in the government, people, they always complain about they don't want the government in so many areas of their lives. But then when something happens, it's like, what's the number? What's the website? So the government every day is being called on more and more to, like you say, solve problems. So again, I was excited to talk with you. So can you please introduce our audience to Policy Pathways? How was the concept conceived?
Policy Pathways is a 501c3 nonpartisan nonprofit organization headquartered in Richmond, Virginia, and it was founded in 2019 by 4 professors. We are all women.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, Beverly Davis, Delta Bowers, and Cynthia Mayo. But the seed was planted when I was a young child growing up in Oakland, California. And I was very much influenced by how people were demanding that their voices be heard, whether that was through the civil rights movement, whether that was through the Black Power movement, the Chicano movement. People wanted to be heard, and they were addressing issues of inequities in society. And so those were the first influences in my life. And when I was an elementary school student, the teacher gave us a homework assignment, and we had to find an article in the Oakland Tribune.
Mm-hmm.
That was the newspaper in Oakland, and talk about that article. I found an article that focused on social welfare, and that the article used charts to display data. And I was just fascinated by these charts, and they were colorful and they told a story. So that was the first time I knew that that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a researcher who could analyze data about a community and then talk about that data and share it with the public. I went on to become president of the student body at my undergraduate university, to work in Oakland City Council as an intern, then going on to Harvard Business School. And while in Oakland, I also started an internship program, and it was with my church. So I was being introduced to how the role of the church, the Black church in the community, and how the church was forming nonprofit organizations to revitalize neighborhoods, to address some of the problems, the housing problems, the education problems, after school problems, Head Start. After graduating from Harvard Business School, I decided to go to Harvard Divinity School. While at Harvard Divinity School, I worked with Dr. Preston Williams, and we started what was called the Summer Leadership Institute. It was a 2-week program. It was the Summer Leadership Institute for Faith-Based Community and Economic Development. Mm-hmm. And pastors and faith-based practitioners would come to Cambridge for 2 weeks, and this was a residential program, and they received course content and lessons from faculty from the Kennedy School of Government, from the Ed School, from the Law School, from the Business School, from MIT, and we had representatives from HUD and from other governmental agencies. And these individuals left at the end of the 2 weeks with an action plan, an action plan for their neighborhoods. They had been so busy. Many of them had ideas, some of them even had plans that had never really been flushed out. Well, pulling them away from their day-to-day responsibilities and giving them the tools that they needed to develop action plans, and those action plans were ready when they went back home to be implemented.
Wow.
So it was there that I really got to see how involved public policy is in our neighborhoods.
It's critical. It's critical.
And I said, young people need to see this. And then so moving forward several years, after graduating from the VCU L. Douglas Wilder School of Government and Public Affairs, which I'm very proud of, because I met Governor Wilder and then Lieutenant Governor back in Oakland several times. So it was an honor to graduate from a school named after him. I knew it was time to put all of those ideas that I had around young people being introduced to public policy into practice.
Wow.
That's amazing. Kudos to you, because that's certainly important life work that you've embarked on. So
Thank
great
you.
job. Yeah.
So now tell us a little bit about the programs that are offered by Policy Pathways.
Oh, we have some wonderful programs. All of our programs aim to introduce young people at an earlier age to public policy and the policy-making process. We focus on youth ages 15 to 25. And so we have our Policy and Society College Prep program. And that program, we work with school districts. We've worked with Richmond Public Schools, and it's a semester-long program. And so young people are introduced not only to and it's an online, a distance learning program. So we work with teachers, but we stream in faculty into the classroom, faculty from all over the world. And young people learn about the policymaking process. They learn about policy analysis, economics, statistics, various contemporary issues. And what's important is that they get to develop and work together on a capstone project. And our capstone projects draw upon all of the information that they learn over the semester. And they use a rubric, and they, at the end of the year, are able to present their capstone projects in a public forum. And so we focus on critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, citizenship, and also communication. Those are important learning experiences that are integrated into the capstone projects. Those projects range from working with Hampton University and the Department of Architecture, looking at solar energy in Virginia. Our students have worked with the University of Natural Resources in Ghana, in Sunyani, Ghana, with Dr. Durkee. They've looked at water and sanitation in Ghana. We've worked with Columbia University, and those students looked at climate change in Vietnam and the impact on the agricultural sector. We've worked with Petersburg, with the Wilcox Conservancy in Petersburg around Legends Park, and re-envisioning Legends Park. So students work on a wide range of capstone projects. One interesting one dealt with China-Africa trade and looking at the sort of negative side of this growing influx of Chinese into Africa, and how it's impacting illegal logging and illegal mining, and how that affects agriculture and small-scale farmers in Ghana.
Yeah, what an experience though you're providing these young people. So how has it impacted them and their careers? Do you have some successes that you can share with us?
Yes, you know what? Before I do that, let me tell you a few more programs.
Okay, sure.
That was just one.
Oh, okay.
We have our summer academy for policy leadership and public service, and we offer this every year. It's a 2-week program. It is also virtual, although in the future we will be offering a face-to-face option, an in-person option. So that's great. And our 2-week program It's a rigorous program. Students get the equivalent of a 15-week semester-long course in the 2 weeks. These participants also complete capstone projects, and they have to present their capstone projects as well. We have our policy research internship program. So if students complete the year-round college prep program or the summer academy, they are able to participate in our research program, and we focus on research methods. We take a deeper dive into research methods, statistics, and data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So another program that we offer is our policy research internship program. And the program focuses on 3 primary areas, and it takes a deep dive into these areas: research methods, statistics, and data analysis. And these 3 areas really present barriers for many students, particularly students of color.
Mm-hmm.
The quantitative side of public policy.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to introduce students to these topics in a non-threatening, non-graded environment where they get to grapple with these large data sets and learn about data analysis and presenting data. And so that's another one. And then finally, we have our Pathways to Life Abroad. This is an international education global careers fair. It will be held in May, Saturday, May the 20th, 2023, at John Marshall High School. And it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will have representatives from study abroad programs, from the United States Department, their International Education Council. We will have representatives from World Learning. We will have representatives from colleges and universities talking about the importance of international affairs and international education. Our goal is to increase the number of students who are taking advantage of these experiential learning opportunities, like study abroad for 2 weeks or a semester. And then we will also focus on global careers. So it's going to be a very exciting day. Just to let you know who our partners, our co-sponsors are: Richmond Public Schools, the Commonwealth Chapter of the Links Incorporated, the City of Richmond Mayor's Youth Academy, Virginia Union University, and the L. Douglas Wilder School of Government and Public Affairs.
Awesome.
This is a Richmond-wide event, and we like to say Richmond is going abroad.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
So you were going to share, and Teresa asked about some of the successes your programs have experienced. Maybe some specific stories you want to share.
Yes. Now, we've had successes organizationally, that our partnerships, our programs, all of those we count as successes.
Of course,
that's there. But we've also had successes in terms of the youth who have gone through our program. And those are the real successes. Those are the successes that make you cry.
I
bet.
I imagine.
Just to share with you a couple of them. There was a young man in our year-round program, and we were all virtual. And this young man would never come on camera. And so we had our guest speakers coming in, and periodically, other than saying present at the beginning of class, so we knew that he was there, he wouldn't speak. But periodically, when our guest speakers started coming into the class and talking about these various intriguing topics, he started typing responses into the chat. So his teacher and I, we were just so impressed with this. I mean, just the fact that he would just begin to communicate. And then over the semester, he started flicking his camera on to say, see me, I'm here. I want you to see me. But he wouldn't leave it on. He would just flick it on so that we could know and see his face. And then we got to the point in the semester where we were talking about our capstone projects. And we were making assignments, and we said, well, who would like to lead the capstone project? And he typed in the chat, he said, I don't want to lead, but I'll follow. And we were like, yeah. And then we started making assignments. And so we said, well, who will take particular slides and various areas on the rubric? And so all of a sudden, he comes on camera and stays on camera and says, I'll read 2 slides, but I stutter. And this stuttering had been a barrier to him in terms of communication. And do you know, by the end of the semester, he presented his 2 slides at the capstone showcase, sitting on the screen next to Superintendent Cameras and Secretary of Education Atif Corney, and there he is reading his slides, and he did not stutter one time.
Amazing. Oh, wow. That is amazing.
Well, that will bring a tear to your eye.
Yes, I just got chills from that. Thank you for sharing. Wow.
That's
kudos.
That's one. We have another one, a young lady, and this is quick. A young lady, she was a senior, and I asked her, I said, well, at the beginning of the semester, what do you want to do when you graduate? She said, I don't know. I don't have any plans. I was thinking about learning how to do acrylic nails. And I said, oh, okay, that's good. That's good. And I told her, I said, well, we're going to put you on a capstone project with Professor Easter, who heads up the Department of Architecture at Hampton University. And so she started working with him and that team. They were learning about climate change and the rise of sea levels and solar energy. By the end of the semester, she had applied to Hampton, and later, a few months later, learned that she had been accepted, and she was on her way to Hampton University to study with Professor Easter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Yeah.
Those are our real success stories.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Dr. Lucas, public service is sometimes overlooked as a position of power to make change. Can you talk a bit about why public service and policy development are important to communities?
Yes, it is sometimes overlooked, but I think increasingly young people today are saying they want their voices heard, and they are looking for ways to become civically engaged and engaged in public service. And I would just like to say that every year we give young people, we recognize them with public service awards. And we are never at a shortage.
Okay.
And I trying to narrow down the 3, 4 students and young people who are out there on the ground addressing issues with the environment, food deserts, housing, crime, the list goes on, whether it's in their schools, their churches, their neighborhoods, they are there. We might not see them, but what Policy Pathways has done, it has given us an opportunity to see them, and they are shining their lights, and
Wow.
it's great to see.
Yeah.
But
well, I was just going to say, my experience was, I think in graduate school, when I took the policy development class, I took it because it was mandatory, but once I got into class and realized, you mean to tell me this is the way that you create documents and laws and regulations that people have to follow?
yes.
Oh, I was all in after that.
Yes.
I was all in. Yeah.
Well, the reason Policy Pathways does what it does is because typically we aren't introduced to public policy until the master's level or doctoral level of our educational journey.
Right. Yeah.
And that's been a problem, because not only have educators and policy leaders there's this sort of message that this is a career path that you take later in life. It's not seen as something that young people engage in. And when you compare public service and public policy to other career paths, such as business, young people start businesses every day.
That's right.
You can start at any age.
Yeah.
If you learn computer science, you can start a computer science business or a jewelry business. So there's very low barriers to entry for those who are on the path to become entrepreneurs. The other thing is, if you are interested in law or medicine, there's a clearer path.
Right.
Compared to public policy. You take pre-law courses, you take pre-med courses, there's a clear path. But with public policy, it's very disjointed. And many people come to public policy by happenstance when they come across an issue that's important to them, and it intersects with the policy arena. And they say, oh, okay, now I see, this is what I want to do. And so Policy Pathways right now is working with the Wilder School. And our goal is to continue to do what we do at Policy Pathways, but to introduce more young people to public policy at an earlier age, so that they can make the connection between where they are now and envision themselves in a policy career or a public service career. And our goal is to help to pave the way, to make that pathway, to illuminate that pathway, and to help remove some of the barriers. A key issue for people of color is the K through 12 system creates inequities that end up impacting post-secondary education.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what we see is that K through 12 has fallen short in preparing males, Blacks, Latinos, students who have disabilities, for these sort of more rigorous paths and post-secondary education. And there is research that shows that what those disparities and those inequities seen in K through 12 are carried over into college and at the university. Well, pipeline being such a significant pathway to college and universities, it's something that more and more people are looking at to see how can those inequities be addressed.
Trust in public services is forever being eroded by public officials and organizations acting unethically. Does your program attempt to address that in any capacity?
Well, Policy Pathways is nonpartisan, so we don't sort of address the issue of the erosion of trust. However, we do recognize that what your question has to do with how well American democracy is working. So, how well do our leaders respond to the needs of our citizens? And are all citizens being heard?
Mm-hmm.
And so we can sort of critique the American democratic system, but at Policy Pathways, what we do is we have renowned professors who they are professors of public policy, professors of government, economics, and international affairs. And they then discuss these issues with our participants and students. And so students are to compare the American democratic system with other systems of government and decide, okay, when we compare these systems, how well are we doing? How does our system, democracy, compare to other systems of government? And I am a believer in American democracy. I believe that even when you see things that are problems, or there's a lack of representation, or that public officials are losing trust, I believe that in the human spirit, that there will rise a response to address it. It may take time, but I do believe in the power of the human spirit and of freedom of thought, and that when you see something that you don't want, you then know what you do want.
Right.
And that is really at the root of our democratic system and our capitalistic system.
Yeah.
Capitalism. There's that freedom. So I would say that we don't address it as an organization. We do teach it, and we teach students to think critically about why they might think these things are happening.
Right. Okay.
And what would be their response.
Well, Dr. Lucas, we've come to the end of our questions, but we want to ask you this last question. And then in answering, if you could also please share your contact information with our audience. But what are Policy Pathways' greatest need at present?
Our greatest need at present would be funding. We are a nonprofit organization. So if there's anyone out there who would like to support our programs, our operations, provide scholarships for students, they can learn more about our organization at policypathways.org, and they can click the donations link and make a donation to support our work.
Great. Thank you so much. Do you have any parting words for our audience? Any information you'd like to share at this point?
I would like to say that Policy Pathways is able to do what it does and do it effectively because of our partners. And those partners are institutional partners as well as the faculty that we employ and that we secure to teach in our programs, and also our outstanding staff. Without them, we would not be able to do what we do. I do want to say that in closing, if there's anyone who is thinking about entering the field of public policy, public administration, or international affairs, there are some important skills that they will want to focus on. They will want to be able to think critically and creatively about public problems and solutions. As I mentioned, they would also want to start thinking about quantitative analysis, to not be afraid. Young people, please don't be afraid to take statistics and learn about quantitative data analysis and how to extrapolate and share findings. And then also to be able to communicate effectively with key stakeholders, whether that's in your local school, that's in your neighborhood. If there's an issue that you have recognized, who are the key stakeholders that you will need to speak with? So I would just like to encourage more young people to get involved. We need to hear their voices. We need their input. I recently attended a webinar, and this organization was talking about some of the young people and a slogan that they stated. And these young people said to the politicians, senior politicians, nothing about us without us.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so that is important. We need to hear from young people.
Yeah, I like that. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lucas. We have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I have learned so much. I think that what you guys are doing at Policy Pathways is amazing. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity to share what we do at Policy Pathways. And if anyone is interested, they can contact us at 804-814-7197 or policypathways.org. Our summer academy is fast approaching. It will run from June the 25th through July 8th, 2023. Applications are available on our website. They are due by May 1st. And also, please look out for our Pathways to Life Abroad International Education and Global Careers Fair on Saturday, May the 20th, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Take good care, Dr. Lucas.
Thank you.